Be the envy of the neighborhood. 860 KKAT, where the grass is always greener. Welcome to Gardening Utah. Here's composter and show hoster, Jana Francis.
Welcome to Gardening Utah. I'm your host, Jana Francis. Every week here on Gardening Utah, we give you gardening inspiration and advice from experts across the state. We talk about all things vegetables, flowers, trees, shrubs, and of course, your lawn. Thank you so much for listening. We really hope this show is something that you look forward to listening to every week. Episodes drop every weekend on Apple Podcasts to get you ready for all the chores you need to do in the yard on the weekend. I hope this is a fun and informative show that you can listen to while you're starting to get to work in the garden or while you're out and about shopping in nurseries and garden centers. On today's show, we're talking fall colors. We're going to teach you how to bring those beautiful fall colors from the mountains all the way to your yard. But first, the tip of the week.
860 KKAT with your Gardening Utah tip of the week.
My tip of the week is, now is the time to plant garlic. Okay, so listen, did you know that garlic is actually a vegetable, not an herb? To be honest with you, I never thought of it that way, and that is something I learned this week while researching the tip of the week. Anyway, there are so many different varieties of garlic, and I'm just now recently starting to really get into it because, you know, the garlic that we get in the store, there's really just one variety. But did you know there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different varieties of garlic, all a little bit different? There are some great, amazing different varieties like Siberian Red, German Mennonite, Colorado Wildfire, Temptress, Romanian Red. I mean, there is a garlic for you. Anyway, garlic is really easy to grow and it requires really very little space in the garden. Now, garlic grows from individual cloves broken off from a whole bulb. So each individual clove will multiply in the ground, forming a new bulb that consists of 5 to 10 cloves. So the key is to plant the right type of garlic. And there's actually two kinds of garlic. It's hardneck or softneck. Now, hardneck is the variety that you want to grow here in Utah because it's the one that does the best in cold climates. The garlic we get from the store is typically softneck. Now, garlic needs several weeks of very cold temperatures in order to thrive, which is why we want to plant it now. Softneck really only grows really well in the milder climates. So you want to plant your cloves in a sunny location with rich, well-drained soil. You're going to set those cloves out root side down about 4 to 6 inches apart in rows about 1.5 to 2 inches apart. And you cover it with 1 to 2 inches of fine soil. And you're going to really want to put down a really thick layer of mulch for winter protection. And it's okay if your garlic immediately starts to grow and it starts to poke up now. That's normal and they will be just fine. Now, there is a direct correlation between the size of the clove that you plant and the size of the bulb that will develop from it. So the trick is, eat the small and plant the large. So if you're getting a garlic clove from, whether you're buying it from a nursery or even the store, you're going to want to eat the small and plant the large. Now, garlic likes loose, well-drained soil, again, with a lot of mulch. And that mulch can be chopped leaves or grass clippings or straw. That mulch is going to help prevent those garlic roots from being heaved out from the freeze and thaw of the soil. Now, knowing that most of the garlic sold in grocery stores is softneck garlic, it's really not the right garlic to plant in your garden. So you're going to probably want to or either order online or visit your local garden center and get some garlic bulbs from that. And I would just like to throw out that garlic is so easy to grow, and I'm telling you, there is a huge difference between store-bought and the ones that you plant yourself. So do a little bit of research, find a couple fun new varieties, plant some garlic, and enjoy.
And that was the tip of the week.
Never miss a tip for your garden. Never miss a tip for your garden. And never miss an episode. The Gardening Utah Podcast with Jana Francis on 860 KKAT.
Okay, so here's a couple interesting factoids about garlic. Did you know that elephant garlic, which has a really mild flavor, is actually not garlic, it's a leek? Who knew? I didn't know that until this week. Hardneck garlic and garlic scapes were actually found in a tomb from the 18th Egyptian dynasty, some 3,500 years ago. So that's pretty fascinating. And then the Spanish brought garlic to North America. Garlic has also been called Russian penicillin, and that was the name for garlic during both world wars due to its use in treating infections, particularly gangrene. Anyway, I wanted to throw out that you can, if you're interested in learning more about planting garlic, because it's kind of my new obsession, I've ordered all these unique, cool varieties, and I cannot wait to try a different variety that I've never had before. So if you want to learn more about how to plant, harvest, and dry your own garlic at home, there is going to be an online class that is free. They do suggest you give a donation if you can, but it's not necessary. And it's from the Vines Urban Farm Manager, Kyle Rittenberg of the Binghamton Urban Farm. And they're going to do it over Zoom or Facebook Live. And again, it's free. You can register, and I'm going to put the link in the episode notes for this episode. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can just go to the episode notes and find it. But if you're listening to this on KKAT 860 AM, you can look up our podcast on Apple Podcast and go to the episode notes, and I'll have the link to this. But it's basically vinegardens.org is who's putting it on. So if you want to learn more, I'm actually going to join it just for fun. Because I'm just super stoked about garlic right now. I'm just laughing because, oh man, I'm such a garden nerd. And of course, but I hope I'm a garden nerd. If I have a gardening podcast and radio show, hopefully I am a gardening nerd. Anyway, on today's show, we are going to talk about fall colors. Have any of you gone on yet scenic drive yet? I mean, really, fall in Utah is a never-ending scenic drive. And whether you're doing, the drives from Brigham City to Logan to Bear Lake to see those trees and those colors, or Ogden Canyon to Huntsville and Woodruff, or Ogden to Weber Canyon to Parley's Canyon to East Canyon to Emigration Canyon. The Bountiful Peak Drive is also beautiful. Big Cottonwood to Solitude to Brighton. Big Cottonwood to Guardsman's Pass to Park City to Heber, Little Cottonwood Canyon, Camas to Mirror Lake, or of course the Alpine Loop, which is obviously one of Utah's most spectacular scenic drives. And then like down in Vernal, they have the Red Cloud Loop, Flaming Gorge, the Uintas. Need I go on? Price, Castle Valley, Fish Lake Plateau, Highway 12. There's just way too many. Oh, LaSalle Mountain Drive. My gosh. Anyway, whether you are going on any of those scenic drives, a lot of people ask, listen, how do I bring that fall color into my own yard? Well, that's what today's show is all about. I'm bringing in my cohort, Cameron, from progressiveplants.com, because he is a genius when it comes to all things trees and shrubs and all of your ornamentals. So we're going to go over all the trees and shrubs and grasses that you can buy now and plant. It's the perfect time, obviously, to plant so that you can have these fall colors in your own backyard. So that's what we're going to talk about when we get right back. So stay with us right here on Gardening Utah.
She's more than just gardening puns and sage advice. It's Gardening Utah with Jana Francis on 860 KKAT. Gardening Utah, available wherever you get your podcasts and at 860kkat.com/garden. Here's Jana Francis.
Welcome back to Gardening Utah. I'm your host, Jana Francis, and I've got Cameron here with me from progressiveplants.com. We've had so many questions lately of people saying, hey, all those beautiful trees up in the canyons, how do I duplicate that in my yard? And what are the best trees for fall color? And you're just always the perfect expert to have to really go over this stuff and really help people understand. I mean, not only are you the guy that knows all the right plants for the right time of season, but you're also the one that has it available for us, right?
Oh, stop it, Jana. No, I know. We have been seeing a lot of questions about fall color and how to duplicate it in the yard. And I think that when you drive up the canyons and you see all these pictures of like the Northeast, like in Maine, back, New York and places like that, where all the fall colors are just looking so good right now. And, the funny thing is, like, it seems like we're a little behind here because it's been so warm lately. I'm not seeing as much like fall color transitioning in the valleys a little bit. I've seen like a little bit of like some of the honey locusts start changing, but for a lot of the really bright, beautiful colors, I haven't really seen that much yet. So, historically, you're usually starting about now, but even at the nursery, I'm not seeing a ton, which is awesome because, if you go and you plant stuff right now, then you're going to be able to enjoy it for the next like 3 or 4 weeks or so as things really start to change. So
yeah, absolutely. And so what are some of your big, the trees that you think, because I mean, a lot of those trees that grow so well up in the mountains may not do as well in some of the valley areas, depending on the heat and that kind of thing. What are some of your favorite tried and trues?
I'm really glad that you brought that up because the one tree that I get asked for the most is the Rocky Mountain maple. Its Latin name is Acer granitatatum. It's the orange tree that you see up in the mountains everywhere in the fall. You just see the little pockets of orange, and otherwise they're you don't really notice them when you're up there hiking and stuff like that during the summer. And then fall hits, and they are just amazing up there. And I really love that tree. We actually have some here planted at the nursery. And the one thing I will say about that particular tree is that I feel it's probably going to perform better up in the mountains than it is down here in the valleys. I mean, it does grow here in the valleys. It does okay. But it really likes to be happy, up in the upper elevations, like above 6,000 feet. It seems like down here in the valleys a lot of times, and especially like here at my nursery too, like when the fall color starts to shift, it's not that vibrant as it is up in the mountains, because I think we just get too hot down here in the valleys that I think just kind of get stressed. You get some burn on the leaves and the color just doesn't look all that good. But man, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous tree. So, but I get asked for that one a lot. We do sell it, but I just want to, kind of temper people's feelings on that tree. Like, it's not going to perform the same way at your house that it's going to, as it is if you go up to one of the ski resorts like at Snowbird or Brighton or something like that. So. But there's a lot of trees that I think have great color. There's a lot of different maples that are out there that actually do pretty well in our soils that give you some vibrant color. One of my favorites actually are sensation box elders. And you hear the word box elder and you kind of freak out. Like, I just saw your face just now.
I kind of was like, okay, wait, yeah. It kind of gives you that moment of pause.
Exactly. But the sensation box elder, now this is very important. You have to get the cultivar that says sensation. Okay. I'd be surprised if regular box elders were in cultivation. So I bet most of them that you get at the garden centers are going to say sensation on them. So it's Acer negundo sensation. Now that particular tree it's a male, okay, and it's a clone. Because it's a male tree, it does not produce any seeds. So you don't get any little helicopter whirlybirds or anything like that.
Ooh.
And what most people don't know, because when you think box elder tree, what else do you think of?
Bugs.
Yeah, the box elder bugs.
Yeah.
Those things are horrendous.
Yes, they are.
But box elder bugs feed on like the flowers and the seeds of the female box elder tree.
Okay.
You see where I'm going with this?
I
So
do.
if you have sensation, it is a male and is a clone, and there is no seeds, which also means there are no box elder bugs.
And it also means there's no helicopter whirlybirds or whatever you call them.
There's no Samaras is what they're called.
Also, there's an actual scientific name. Got it.
There is an actual scientific term for them. So.
Of course.
Of course. Now, here's the thing. This is the other interesting thing about the box elder tree is that, because I'm just going to pop off random, facts about trees because that's what I do.
I love it.
So the box elder tree is actually really versatile. It will grow in any type of soil condition. So if you live in Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, like out in Tooele, poor soils, clay soils, sandy soils, wet soils, dry soils, that tree will literally grow anywhere.
Okay.
So it's a good shade tree. It grows very, very quickly. It has brilliant, like orange red fall color. It is a gorgeous tree. And I don't think it's used enough in the landscapes. It does get big. So if you have a small lot, this is not going to be the tree for you. but I think it's a tree that is very underused and should probably be used a little bit more. I just think, the public kind of is turned against it because of the term box elder, and then they think box elder bugs, but it's a great tree. So a couple of other maples that you can try. There's the paper bark maple. That actually has some pretty interesting, like orangey red fall color. Ooh. And the one thing that I like about the paper bark maple is that it has exfoliating bark, and the bark itself is more of like an orange, rusty brown color. With all that, the exfoliation where all the bark kind of peels away, it gives you some winter interest as well.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, so I think they look really good. They sometimes performance on those depends on where you live. Sometimes they do better in different parts of Utah than others, so you have to be a little bit careful for that. If you like the traditional like Norway maple look, there's been a new series that have kind of come out that we're excited about. It's basically a cross between two maples. It's the Acer truncatum, which is a Shantung maple, and the Acer platanoides, which is a Norway maple. They've merged the two together because, plant people can be Frankensteins, I guess. So they give you that Norway maple look, but the range in fall colors is incredible. I mean, you can get like Norwegian and Pacific sunset. They're kind of like a yellowy orange. A couple of years ago, they launched the urban sunset, which is like a brilliant scarlet color on a maple. So if you want to get that really bright scarlet type color, you don't think you can use like a big tooth maple, like the native one that grows here. The urban sunset might be the one for you. And then there's a couple of other truncated platanoides crosses that exist. So it's basically like pick your fall color, and that's the tree that you get. So
yeah.
And then one of my other favorites, and this is one that's not really used a lot. I'm going to give you the Latin name because that's how we work. It's an Acer japonicum aconitafolium, and it's usually referred to as a full maple. It's got these huge green, like palmate type leaves, and its fall color is a brilliant scarlet. And it's gorgeous. It's actually related to the Japanese maples, so it will grow in the shade. So it makes it kind of a really cool, like understory type tree. And we've also noticed that it actually tolerates a fair amount of sun too, and it's probably hardier than most other Japanese maples. So I think I have like one left in stock at the time that we are recording this. So that might change by the time that it airs.
Forget this whole segment, everybody, because it's coming to my house.
Probably. So, but I mean, those are like my favorite maples to use because you can get, they work for like big shade trees, and then a little bit like smaller shady areas, like, with the full moon maple that we just talked about. And then of course, I mean, their fall color is second to none. I mean, they are absolutely incredible.
And as you're talking about these trees, I'm imagining the grouping and the different contrasting colors that they're all differently setting off. I mean, it sounds just delightful.
Yeah, it's like, well, you've seen the pictures of like, the overlays of like, Maine and the Northeast and maybe a little bit in the Pacific Northwest and stuff. I mean, you can make your house look like that. It's not difficult. You just have to have the right plants, So we're going to go through a whole list of plants today that will give you that type of color. So,
yeah. So will you repeat the name of that maple really quick that you just mentioned, because the internet cut out just a little bit?
The Acer japonicum aconitafolium, also known as the full moon maple.
A full moon maple. Okay, that's what we missed. All right, got it.
Yeah. So, so I would say check out those maples because I mean they actually do pretty well here, and I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I mean they're good solid trees. Another one that's been kind of gaining in popularity that I've noticed, especially with landscape architects, because I think this tree has a really interesting structure, is the autumn brilliance serviceberry tree. Now its fall color is like just a beautiful scarlet, like orangey scarlet color. I mean, that's why people get this tree is for the fall color. It also does have white flowers in the spring, so it's it kind of gives you 2 seasons worth of interest. But it is a gorgeous tree. It's very, very small. In Utah, it's only going to get probably around like 15 to 20 feet tall and wide. So
okay.
Not huge, great for smaller lots. Not really a densely leafed tree. It'll give you like a little bit more dappled shade underneath it. It has a really good shape to it, I think. And a couple of other ones that aren't used a whole lot. Hackberries, I think, are really kind of interesting. They grow pretty fast. They can get pretty big. There's also another one called Prairie Sentinel that's actually columnar. It gets to be about 25 feet and maybe about 6 to 7 feet wide. Its fall color is yellow, but it is a bright, bright yellow. It is absolutely gorgeous. So it rivals, like I would say, like the quaking aspen that you get up in the mountains and stuff. Yes. And this is the last time that I'm going to talk about quaking aspen because I don't want people putting them in their yards for their fall color because you'll pay for it later.
Yep.
But I think hackberries are a really good tree, and they're also one that grow in really poor soils, and so you can grow them pretty much anywhere. Another tree that I think that could get used a little bit more are the Crataegus species, also known as hawthorns. There's a lot of hawthorns that have some really good fall color. Like Washington hawthorn's pretty good. The thornless hawthorns are really good. There's a few that you can really get to that just look absolutely amazing. And they come in all sorts of different sizes, and they also have flowers in the spring. I mean, they're not used enough, I don't think. So they can give you some really good color all year long.
Ooh, awesome. Well, hawthorn tree. And we're going to, if you're listening to this and you're going, I didn't bring my pad and paper with me, don't worry about it because we're going to put it in the episode notes under this episode at Gardening Utah on Apple Podcasts. So you'll be able to link straight to all of these trees and see more about them without a problem. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to finish up all the fall trees that you need to have, but we're also going to talk about shrubs next because underneath all those trees, you've got to have that perfect balance. So stay with us. We'll be right back right here on Gardening Utah.
860 KKAT with Jana Francis and Gardening Utah, where it's always mulch time. She really does have the nicest yard on the block. It's Gardening Utah with Jana Francis on 860 KKAT.
Welcome back to Gardening Utah. You've got Jana Francis here and Cameron Allcott with ProgressivePlants.com, and we're talking fall colors for your yard, all the trees and all the shrubs and perennials that you're going to want to put into your yard if you would like your yard to look just like the mountains this time of year. So Cameron, in the last segment, we left off on the hawthorn. So what else have we got?
Did. I've got so many trees. There's so many beautiful trees for fall. One of my favorites are the ash trees. And these are getting a little scary because, we are under threat of like the emerald ash borer. I know it's in most of the states like east of the Rockies, and it's probably just a matter of time before it reaches Utah. But ash trees have like some of the best fall color. But there's unfortunately no defense for the emerald ash borer as soon as it gets over here. They will just consume ash trees. And if you have an ash tree in your yard, it will probably die. So, but we might be a good 10, 15 years away before we actually start seeing it here. But as far as fall color goes, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous tree. Most of them are like a bright yellow. They're one of the first ones to start changing. And there's all sorts of different ash. And so there's like the green ash, and then there's the white ash. And the one that's really famous, I think, of the white ash is the autumn purple ash. Those things actually go like straight up purple for their fall color. They go from green to just a purple color. And so they're absolutely gorgeous. I love them quite a bit. Honey locusts, I think, are a fantastic tree for fall color. And they're pretty common, so I won't spend a whole lot of time on them. They're also a tree that works in all sorts of poor soil conditions. So again, Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, Tooele County, just places that have never been developed before. Honey locusts seem to do really well. Great yellow fall color. And another tree that doesn't really get a whole lot of accolades for their fall color are crab apples. But there are a lot of crab apples that actually have really good fall color. I mean, spring snow is great with it's like kind of like more of like a yellow fall color. Some of the darker leafed varieties like Red Baron, there's like Indian Magic, and some of them kind of go like a little bit more orangey, and they're really pretty. So the next tree that we're not going to talk about are flowering pears because I hate them. They smell terrible, but they do actually have pretty decent fall color. I'm going to leave it at that, but don't buy any more flowering pears. A lot of times they're banned on a lot of cities' like they're on the do not plant list for like a lot of the cities now.
Yeah.
So, but a tree that I think that is not used enough, that I think has really amazing fall color, are the different oak species.
Ooh.
So yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, when was the last time that you really saw like an oak other than a scrub oak?
Yeah.
Not very often. So out here at the nursery on our back patio, we actually have a black oak. It's a Quercus velatuna or something like that. It has the best fall color I have ever seen on a tree. And it's right outside my window, and it's actually changing colors right now. Oh, it's so pretty. But what it does is that it starts from like a yellow to an orange to a red to a purple. And the way that it changes color, it's like the way how the sun hits it, it's on the east side, it changes first. And then, so like half of the tree will be like yellow, and then the other half will be purple. And then you have this whole rainbow of colors in between. It is so cool how it changes color every single year. It's absolutely gorgeous. But there's, like I said, there's a lot of different oaks. I think the Shimardi oak is really pretty with its fall color. And then the chinkapin oak actually isn't too shabby itself. It's more of like an orangey red. So, you know, like I say, I think there's a lot of room for oak trees in the valleys, and we're not really using them a ton, but they really gave you a great fall color. So, linden trees actually give you really fall color as well, and they smell delicious when they're all blooming in June.
So it's opposite of the flowering pear. Let's just go over that.
Exactly. It is very opposite of the flowering pear. They have a gorgeous yellow fall color, and it's really bright and beautiful, and their leaves are actually really easy to clean up when they do finally drop typically. So, you know, another one that I really like, and this is another like genus of trees that aren't really being used a whole lot, are elm trees. Elm trees have fantastic fall color. I think the vast majority of those are also like kind of like a yellow color. And they're a very nice stately tree. I think that the elm trees are probably going to take over for the ash trees once the emerald ash borer kind of hits. It'll probably kind of take over as like the quintessential like street tree or shade tree. They grow really fast, and as long as you can live through their awkward teenager phase for when they're a little bit smaller, they actually end up being a beautiful tree. I've seen them used in holiday, kind of like where my girlfriend lives, a lot more. And I mean, they've been in for like a good couple of years, and some of the areas over there are just absolutely just beautiful. So, and then the last one I think I'm really going to touch on are probably Zelkovas. That's actually a really good tree for Utah as well. It's virtually no maintenance. They don't really flower or do anything. They're just like kind of like a no frills tree, but they don't get a whole lot of diseases. They grow really fast. They love Utah's climate. And most of them have more of like a yellow fall color. And we actually introduced a new one this year. I believe it's called Burgundy Vase. And I haven't had a chance to go out to see it in the nursery yet, but it's supposed to have more of like I guess, burgundy fall color, a little bit more on the orange side of things instead of like the typical like yellow orange that the regular Zelkovas get. So that's one that I'm really excited for, because I'd love to see, you know, a Zelkova that has like a different fall color, because I think it has a lot of like applications and opens up a lot of creativity in the yards.
That's awesome.
It's really kind of neat.
And
Yeah.
so if you're just listening to this, you can find a link to all of these trees in the episode notes in Apple Podcast. Or, you know, if you venture on over to the Utah Gardeners Facebook page, I'm sure that some of these will be linked there as well. But of course, you can just search for them as well at progressiveplants.com, right? And
Oh, yeah.
tell everybody how they can actually go to the nursery just right before we hit up the next break. After this break, we're going to talk about the shrubs and the perennials that you can put in for beautiful, beautiful fall color. But as we lead into this break, tell everybody how they can come and see some of these IRL.
In real life for all of you non-internet people.
Yeah.
The best way to do it, you can actually book a golf cart online on our website at progressiveplants.com. And so you can reserve it for about a 2-hour block where you can just drive around the nursery and look at all like the different trees and their colors and the flowers that we have and all the shrubs, because things are turning right now. I mean, if you saw like our very awesome hydrangeas, I'll have to send you a picture. They are so gorgeous right now. And then a lot of the trees that we're talking about, they're starting to change, and the shrubs that we're about to talk about are starting to change as well. So the nursery here in the next 3 weeks is going to be really gorgeous. So yeah, just jump on to progressiveplants.com and just book a golf cart and drive around.
Well, Cameron, that sounds absolutely divine, and I just might be taking you up on that this weekend. Okay, right after this quick break, we're going to talk shrubs now. Cameron's going to tell us the shrub that he does not like, that is very common, and why. And we're going to talk about the other amazing shrubs that you should bring into your yard for beautiful fall color. Stay with us.
She's more than just gardening puns and sage advice. It's Gardening Utah with Jana Francis on 860 KKAT. 860 KKAT with more of the fastest growing show on radio. It's Gardening Utah with Jana Francis.
Welcome back to Gardening Utah. I'm your host, Jana Francis, and I have MrProgressivePlants.com, Cameron Allcott, with me, and we're talking fall. Thanks again for being here, Cameron.
Oh, thank you. I love doing the show with you.
It's fun. Okay, so shrubs. We finished off trees, didn't we? Was there any more?
Yeah, we finished. I'm sure there's probably more trees. I mean, there's thousands upon thousands of trees.
Actually, you know what? This is random and I didn't plan on this, but the ginkgo. Did we talk about the ginkgo?
Oh, you know what? We didn't talk about the ginkgo, and it's actually on my list. That's funny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, I just remembered, I love the leaf of the ginkgo tree. It's so freaking cool.
Yeah. And its fall color is absolutely amazing. They actually make dwarf versions of the ginkgo.
Really?
Yeah, like little teeny tiny ones. There's like one that's called like jade butterflies. It's like really small. There's also spring something. I can't remember now. But there's also like a little dwarf one that grows in a little teeny tiny ball called American.
Oh.
Like, they're absolutely adorable. I think I have one left. We should put it in your yard.
Let's do. So, sorry, everybody.
It's mine. Unless somebody like buys it like right now. So. That's how you test your demographic.
That's right. Somebody beat Jana to it, and she. That's awesome.
So, but yeah, so they have like really small, like little geckos. Because I mean, I think that a lot of people don't think about shrubs for fall color in their yards either.
Yeah.
And there's some amazing shrubs. I think the one that comes to mind the most for most people are burning bush.
Totally.
And anybody who knows me knows that I hate burning bush with a passion.
You do?
Because
I know you, and I just learned this.
I hate them. I hate them.
I was 8 years old.
Right up there. Yeah, they're right up there with flowering pears for me. I can't stand them.
Why?
So,
I need to know this. So our listeners.
A couple of things is that they're really not suited for our climate here. I mean, they work great in a couple of pockets, but their fall color here never looks like it does back east.
Okay.
Like, where it's a lot cooler, more humidity. Like they like burning bush are actually an invasive species outside of Utah.
What?
So maybe not the one that's sold commercially, but like Euonymus alatus is considered like an invasive species in a lot of states back east.
Okay.
So, but here they get spider mites. They are not drought tolerant. You have to dump all sorts of water on them to keep them looking good. And then sometimes when you do that, they get chlorotic. So then you have to start treating them with iron to try to keep it looking okay. They're really sensitive to overwatering. They're sensitive to underwatering. So it's really hard to get it right with those things. And then really like their fall colors just kind of meh. Like I said, there's always exceptions. There's a couple of pockets where I've seen them look okay.
Yeah.
But like in most places where I see them, like they just look more yellow than they do green.
Gotcha.
And then their fall color is like kind of like this brownish red that just is kind of sad and makes me want to cry.
Okay. Well,
So that being said,
now I'm going to look at mine. I have 3 of them, and they're not doing awesome. So now you're just like blowing my mind here, and I think that we might need to make some switcheroos.
Absolutely, you should make some switcheroos. The one tree or the one shrub that I think that you should really try out in place of the burning bush, there's an aronia that's also known as a chokeberry, not a chokecherry, but it's a chokeberry. So it's an aronia. It's called low-scaped hedger. It's a proven winner, but I have been absolutely enamored with this one ever since it came out because it actually grows in like a vase shape, like a burning bush does. But it's drought tolerant, has flowers, doesn't have berries. Its leaves in the summer, like in the heat of summer, are this like glossy green, doesn't burn, performs amazing. I haven't ever seen any pests on it. And then its fall color is unbelievable. Like it is like an orange, scarlet red. I mean, it makes burning bush just look stupid. Like
Whoa.
it's really kind of cool. So I'm thinking probably start using this one as like, the burning bush replacement to where, if you need like hedges and things like that. Because again, because it grows in more of like a base shape, you don't necessarily have to shape it very much like you would like a burning bush and pruning it and keeping it a certain size. So plus it grows faster.
Gotcha.
So that one's kind of neat. There's another Aronia. There's one that's called Groundhog, which is more of like a ground cover. And then there's another one called Mound. And they're all part of like this proven winter series called like the Lowscape is what they kind of do with these Aronias. But all of them are drought tolerant. They all have amazing fall color, and they all have like pretty white flowers in the spring. So to me, I'm thinking this is a no-brainer. And the best part about it is that they're all water-wise. They don't really require a whole lot of water once they get established.
Wow.
So kind of neat. So those are like my new favorite series. And I didn't really appreciate the value in the landscape that they would have up until probably the last 2 years where I actually have had the chance to work with them. I'm like, wow, these are neat.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. Another one that a lot of people don't really think about are dogwoods. Dogwoods are kind of like the quintessential, like, shrub. You just kind of stick somewhere because it's boring and green, and you get red tips, or red sticks on the stems for winter. And that's when you really enjoy them.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting, most dogwoods actually have a brilliant scarlet fall color.
Oh.
So they're not really known for it because everybody wants the tips or wants the sticks, but the leaves are really beautiful as they start to change, especially some of the more variegated ones. They have a kind of a cool color change because like the margins on the leaves change a different color than the centers. So like ivory halo dogwood, which is really popular, they kind of have like this two-tone fall color. Another one that I just noticed in the nursery today actually is the neon burst. So neon burst dogwood actually has yellow leaves. I guess they're more like chartreuse. And they kind of fade into a green as they kind of mature. And then the fall color on them is more of like a red. So right now my neon bursts are yellow, green, and red.
Okay.
So they're really kind of cool. I like it. Like Neon Burst or Prairie Fire, I think are my two favorite dogwood introductions. Let's see. And hydrangeas. There's this particular hydrangea that I really like for fall color. It's an oak leaf hydrangea. The Latin name on it is Hydrangea quercifolia. Their fall color is absolutely astounding because you have like these leaves that are the size of your face, and they just turn like a really dark red color. They're absolutely gorgeous. So they need like a little bit of protection, I think, in the summer, so they don't just like burn. And they might require like a little bit of like heavy mulching in the winter to kind of keep it from dying back. Because I think they're susceptible to a lot of like, crown fungus and diseases and stuff. So you need to kind of protect them a little bit, but they're absolutely gorgeous and very rewarding if you can get them to live. They're not like a beginner plant by any means, but they're more of like the intermediate level.
Gotcha.
So, sumacs. I mean, this is a wide range of a genus. So you've got like your staghorn sumacs, your like Grollo sumacs. Those have really beautiful fall color, and they're deer resistant. They're kind of considered either small trees or shrubs. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different types of sumacs in there, but they have great fall color, and they're deer resistant. So
that's huge for a lot of people in Utah, for sure.
Yep, it is. And then spireas. There's actually a lot of spireas that actually have a fair amount of fall color as well. Two of my favorites are the Spirea betulifolias, also known as birch leaf spireas. There's two varieties that I like. There's one that's called Tor, and then another one that's marketed. It's kind of like going through an identity crisis. They called it initially like Glow Girl, and I think they're calling it Tor Gold now. So yeah, the differences are this. Tor is a very basic green leafed, kind of shrub, mounted, very drought tolerant. Works up at high elevations. Its fall color is like a kaleidoscope of like yellows and oranges and purples and reds and scarlets. I mean, it's an incredible fall color performer. But it also has white flowers in the spring. It's really gorgeous. And then the Tor Gold or Glow Girl, that one actually has more of like a lime green leaf, but has the same type of fall color. So if you're kind of a foliage freak, Tor Gold, I think, is pretty much where it's at.
Yeah.
There's another spirea that I'm still kind of on the fence on because I've seen it do okay, and then I've seen it just die for no reason. And this is another proven winner as well. Sorry, proven winners, to out you on this one. But it's called candy corn. It's not very well known. We introduced it about 3 or 4 years ago, and we think it has potential, but I've just had enough weird issues with it that I don't know that I want to carry it full time. But I'll give it one more year and we'll see what happens with it. But the fall color on candy corn is like something you've never seen. It is
really
literally, it looks like a candy corn candy.
Oh my word.
So like that orange and yellow and white that's kind of on there, that's its fall color.
Oh, that sounds so epic.
It is really neat. So, and then another like genus of plants that I don't think gets enough love, especially here in Utah, is viburnum. There's a lot of different viburnums, and that was what I would usually use in place of burning bush a lot of times, like the viburnum trilobums. There's a couple that are, I think there's a Alfredo, Spring Red Compact, and Bailey's Compact. Their fall color is, I think, hands down better than a burning bush, and it tolerates our soils a lot better. They're a lot more drought tolerant, plus you get flowers.
Yeah, in the spring, some of them are absolutely phenomenal, right?
Oh, yeah. There's so many different viburnums. It's a huge genus.
Yeah.
But the trilobums are the ones that I've typically kind of used for like the fall coloring, and I've really loved them. So I like them a lot. So, and another type of plant that people don't really think about and don't think as far as like, fall color goes are grasses. So, because nobody thinks like, oh, hey, you get a grass for fall color. I mean, most people think they're more of like a drought tolerant plant or like a texture filler or something. It's like texture change or something like that. But there are some grasses that have some of the best fall color that I've ever seen. There's one that's called like andropogon, also known as big blue stem. It's fall. There's a couple different varieties. Their fall colors are really kind of neat. You can get like some that are like a bright red, like Red October. There's another one that's called Black Hawk that's like really kind of like a dark purple. And then there's another type of grass that's called little blue stem. Its Latin name is like Schizachyrium or something supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And that is that's actually a huge genus as well. You've got varieties called like the Blaze or Blue Heaven or Blue Carousel. There's a bunch. Their fall color is a little bit more scarlet, but their color during the summer is blue. So you get two different colors throughout the season with it, which make it really kind of interesting. So, if you haven't picked up a little blue stem, you should. There's my particular favorite one is called Smoke Signal because it just goes like a dark purple.
Oh, wow.
Which is really kind of neat.
And you're talking here, these are ornamental grasses that are perennial grasses, correct?
Correct. They will come back year after year after year after year.
Okay. So, can you believe we have 45 seconds left of this episode?
Oh my gosh. I'm not even through all my grasses.
I know.
Miscanthus purpurensis. It's flame grass. Get that one too. That one's beautiful.
That sounds amazing. Say that again.
Miscanthus sinensis purpurensis, also known as flame maiden grass.
Oh, flame maiden grass. Okay. That's what we're going to remember. Viscanthus. I don't even know what. Cameron, I don't know how you memorize all this stuff. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. That is it for today's episode of Gardening Utah. So as always, let us know what you would like to see on the show. Send us a message on Instagram. Our handle is @GardeningUtah. Thanks so much to Cameron Allcott for joining me today and giving us so many great trees and shrubs that we can plant in our yards to have beautiful fall color. So join us next week when we're going to be talking with Eric Marble from Chanshare Sod Farms, and we're going to give you the complete list of everything you need to do to your lawn to put it to bed for the year. Can't wait to have you join us then. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts to our show. Look up Gardening Utah. I'm Jana Francis. We'll see you next week on Gardening Utah. And remember, grow big or go home.
When you're ready to grow big or go home, make your neighbors green with envy. Get the Gardening in Utah podcast, Gardening Utah. Available wherever you get your podcasts and at 860kkat.com/garden.